A lot of you guys are probably like, where did Cher come from? Cher wasn't even in the mix. That's it. We're doing it. I'm excited. Let's see what happens. Thanks for clicking on Simply Tanika. I am Tanika. If you are new here, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. Let's hang out a while. If you are returning, welcome back. What's up, fertility fam? We gotta do what? Let's get those babies, ladies. Drops fall and the beauty of it all. What's up, fertility fam? Good morning. Today is Tuesday, the 19th of March. Where's the year going? All right, we have a meeting at Sher Fertility. I think it's Sher Fertility. Anyway, doing that today. Hey fam! All right, it is the end of the day. I ended up not vlogging. I'm just gonna do a sit down and let you know what happened. It was I got lost going over there. I wasn't late. Luckily, I left time early, but I was a day of like getting all my forms in. I made my appointment on Friday for Sher Fertility, and I had to get all my paperwork in. I did not go to work yesterday because I wasn't feeling well, and so I needed to print out and fill them out and email and all that. So I did that at the office today. So it was a little crazy. But I did get to my appointment. There was a little snafu with my insurance. So my conversation with the financial coordinator wasn't that productive because we didn't have the right insurance information. Someone from their office called, and whoever they spoke with at the insurance company said I wasn't covered after 35. I only could do diagnostic treatment, which isn't true. It's just specifically fertility benefits. It's the IUIs you can't have after 35. It's not covered. But anyway, let me talk about my appointment with the doctor. And I think his name is pronounced Owinger. I'll put his name down here so you guys can see. But he's been at Sher for, I think he said 6 months, 9 months. He came from a place in Norfolk, Virginia, where they like invented IVF. So I was super excited to talk to him. And yeah, let's just get into it. So sat down with him. I had some of my medical records. I didn't have anything from Columbia because again, I made the appointment on Friday. I filled out my request for records today because I needed to fax it in, and I had to go over to the office, and you get it. So we just had my RMA records, we had my OBGYN records, we had my records from my general practitioner for my physical and all that fun stuff. So we kind of talked about that. But mainly we talked about protocol and like what he would do differently. Told him about my treatment over at Columbia. So if you're new here, I had a estrogen priming the cycle before, so cycle day 21. I went in and had my progesterone tested, and then they started me on estrogen. I did Cetrotide for 3 days. I continued my estrogen into the IVF cycle up until cycle day 3 when I went in for my blood work, and my FSH came back at 7.7, which was amazing. And then we did 10 days of stims. I had 450 IU of gonal F, and I think it was 150 of Menopur. I did that, and then at the end I did the Cetrotide to reduce the chance of me ovulating on my own. And then we did ICSI. I had 1 egg that was retrieved successfully. We did ICSI on it. It fertilized, and we did a day 3 transfer. Had implantation, late implantation, ended up with a positive pregnancy test, and then had an early loss. So that was kind of what, when we did assisted hatching, but I don't think I remembered to even tell him that we did assisted hatching. But anyway, so he, based on that, gave me a 5% chance of success rate with IVF with my own eggs. Of course, he mentioned I'd have a higher success rate with donor eggs. I think they have an obligation to tell you that. So we went over a chart, and basically his thoughts are he wanted to explore egg banking. So having as many eggs as possible so that they can all go in for testing. That means, yes, that would go to a day 5. He wants to grow them out to day 5 blastocysts, and then have them biopsied and sent off, have the biopsy sent off for pre-genetic screening. and then coming back with the best egg for transfer. So that would be totally different than what I had before because I had the fresh transfer. But he did acknowledge the value in the fresh transfer because I had the one embryo, right? It's better to put that in and let nature take its course. But he said at my age, which at this time is 47, there is a higher risk of chromosomal abnormalities. And so 90% of my eggs, he said, will be chromosomally abnormal statistically. And so that's where he was like leading with the egg banking. He would do a low dose of meds, and he would do the human growth hormone, HGH, which some ladies have taken. There's a brand name of Omnitrope. There's different brand names, but basically that's it. The human growth hormone, it would happen like the 10 or so days that I would be doing stims. And he said that is known to improve egg quality. He said not always. He was like, it only can help. It won't hurt. He definitely recommended continuing the DHEA, 75 milligrams a day. We talked about that 3 times a day, he said, instead of like once a day. I was taking all 3 at once. So I'll resume that, my DHEA, taking the ubiquinol, and he was like, any of the others. And so I told him I had read It Starts with the Egg. And there's one other book. I'll do another video about that because I'm looking at those supplements. But basically anything that is geared toward egg quality, he said to focus on those supplements. He was like, it can't hurt, might help, no guarantee. He asked me what I felt about the DHEA, if it did make a difference. And I said, I don't know because we only have the one egg, right? So I like to think that it did. There's a lot of data to prove that it helps. So we won't know exactly because we did not test before or after. He did ask if there was any genetic testing done after the loss, and there wasn't. So, yeah, that was kind of it as far as like what he would do differently. Obviously, then we would have, if we did banking or if we got enough eggs the first time, we would be transferring in another cycle. And so he said for that cycle, it would be estrogen at the beginning of the cycle, coming in like cycle day 3 and during the whole follicular phase. And then the estrogen would stop ovulation. So I said, are we going to wait until I ovulate? And he said, no, we would just suppress the ovulation. There would be no ovulation. And then we would start progesterone. And he is of the mind that progesterone and oil is best, that it has the highest clinical reading. So like when you get your blood work done, as far as like efficacy and how the body is absorbing it's registered higher on a blood test. I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but he's a doctor. I'm going to go with it. He obviously has a lot more experience than I do, and he came from a very well-renowned clinic, and now he is at this clinic, and he's open to doing IVF with my own eggs at this age, diminished ovarian reserve. When I asked him about that, what the protocols were, he was like, the so-called diminished ovarian reserve. But basically, it's a quality issue that he wants to focus on. So I thought that was cool. A lot of you guys are probably like, where did Sher come from? Sher wasn't even in the mix. Well, I called my insurance as I was looking around. So the last time we talked about this, I was looking at CNY. They can't get me in for a consultation until August. And I have to drive all the way up to Albany for that. So after I got that news, I was like, let me call my insurance, see who else is included. Sher was included, and on their website, they have very detailed blogs and practices for dealing with women of an older age who are doing IVF. And they also, I don't know, there was just something of the 3, and I can't remember the other 2 now, but of the 3, this one seemed like the most down to do it for someone with diminished ovarian reserve, or DOR. So I went with that. And then I have another appointment at CHR. I know a lot of you guys have talked about CHR, and that appointment is on April 1st. So we'll go. They are not covered by insurance, so it's a $500 fee just for that initial consultation. But I figure at best, I should just have that consultation and see what happens, like what kind of feedback I get, because they do also have a track record. They're the ones who but they started the practice of DHEA supplementation during IVF, and they've had a lot of success with that. They've done clinical trials, and so they definitely are with it as far as leading technology and leading practices for women with diminished ovarian reserve and having a success. They don't turn people away, which is also what was good about CNY. So we'll see. we had the insurance thing, so we didn't get like, I talked with the doctor first and went over like what he thought, and then I went in and talked to Nakia, who will be my financial coordinator. But again, it wasn't that productive just because we didn't have like the correct records, and so I will follow up on that. I still need to get my Columbia records over to them, so I'll call Columbia tomorrow, see how long that will take. I'm actually having the records sent to me, so then I can just make copies since I'm seeing 3 different reproductive endocrinologists about my next steps. I just want to make sure I have it and I don't have to keep sending requests. I'm not sure if they charge for it. So we'll get all of that going. And yeah, I will say I'm excited about this now. And I think that will make a world of difference. For those of you who have been here, going into my first IVF, I wasn't that excited. I felt very, I had mixed feelings. Like on the one hand, I was grateful that I was moving toward IVF, but I also was very much sad that I had to go to IVF, if that makes sense. So there was no real excitement, but I feel like I know what I'm up against now. I know the process. And so I'm excited to go through it again and give it all I've got and just be in it to win it, like mentally, physically. So I will start my supplements tomorrow. I will, get all this other stuff going. Oh, and this doctor wants my general practitioner to sign a letter saying that I'm fit for pregnancy. He wants that in the records. I'm going for my physical. I'm going for like my pap smear on Friday. I'm going for my physical next week. So we'll get all that done. We'll rerun my blood works. It's been since March of last year and we're currently in March now. So I'm a little bit late, like making the appointments. It will be exactly a year. And then I need to get like my mammogram, all that stuff done. But yeah, we're good. He felt good that I had the polypectomy and like they looked at the uterus. He wants to see what those test results look like and if there were any findings. I had the polyp removed after my SHG and we had the polyp removed. It was larger than what they thought it was going to be. And then they sent that out for biopsy. I sat out a cycle after that. So he wants to look at all of the reports from that surgery to see, he was like, that's the gold standard. He was like, you don't need to do another HSG. You don't need to do an SHG. Like the gold standard is going to be that polypectomy that I had. So lots going on. I'm super excited and I wanted to give you guys that update. So yeah, there will be more going on. We'll get through all of the doctor's appointments, OBGYN, physical, even made a dental appointment, that quarterly cleaning, mammogram. So the OBGYN is the one who gives me the referral for the mammogram. So we'll go and get that done. Hoping to come back with a clean bill of health. Still not sure if Blue will be the donor. Probably 80% that he won't be, but we'll sort that out. Yeah. That's it. I think that's it. Excited. Their office was really nice. There's another YouTuber who went to this clinic, Mommy C, Mama Ty. They went there. They had IUIs and they were successful with their IUIs. She's a lot younger. So, but she had glowing reviews about the office and the practice, which I think is important. And so I liked what this doctor was talking about as far as protocol and just his outlook. We talked for probably about 45 minutes. He answered all of my questions and I kind of got a sense of like what he would do differently. He said he's not opposed to fresh transfers. He was like, obviously that's what they did at first and they had lots of success with it. That's how IVF got its start. But in my case, because he's recommending the PGS, which is pre-genetic screening, he's recommending the screening first. And so obviously that leads you to a frozen transfer because you do the biopsy on the 5th or 6th day and you send those off for the screening results. So yeah, like I liked that. Or I guess it made me feel comfortable that a lot of what he said about fresh versus frozen was in line with Dr. McConnell, what she had said, who I love dearly. And I know I was talking to Lily Jean. She was like, I thought you really liked Dr. McConnell. And I was like, I do. However, the $11,000 hurdle is one thing. And then, I don't know, I just get the sense that it will be helpful to have a doctor that is practiced in diminished ovarian reserve, like older ladies. And there's something about this one. This will be my first male doctor since I've started this fertility journey. I had Dr. McKelvy over at RMA, who was a woman, Dr. Beth McKelvy, and then I had Dr. McConnell, who I don't even know if I know Dr. McConnell's first name. But anyway, so obviously 2 women. This is a man. He's been at it for a while. I liked the fire in his belly, as far as like he's handled tough cases. And I was like, well, I've got one for you. He did mentioned briefly donor eggs, and we went over the increased chance of percentage of success, which I think they have to do. I'm not interested in donor eggs at this time. If I change my mind, I have the coverage. As long as I stay with this employer, I have that option until I'm 50, and the donor is completely covered, medicine is covered, all that fun stuff. So from a cost perspective, that's obviously cheaper, but then it would not be my biological child. So that's the only thing I think. Yeah, not there yet. Not there yet. So yeah, that is my update. That is what happened. If any of you guys have been to Sher Facility, like Sher Fertility, let me know down below. I'm curious as to what your experience was and what your outcome was. I'm going to the one in New York. It's on BETH Avenue. I know there's like one in Vegas. I remember watching a documentary, like they had a contest, the Sher Facility in Vegas, Dr. Sher, which I think he sold his practice, but I don't know, so I'm not going to ramble on about that. But yeah, that's it. We're doing it. I'm excited. Let's see what happens. Overall, I mean, aside from like my little GI issue that I was having, I am feeling good overall. I'm much more rested than I have been. We're gonna do vlogs 2 or 3 times a week, see how that feels, and see if I can continue to get rest. The doctor did stress that the sleep helps manage the hormones, and I think I've seen that firsthand in the last couple of cycles where my ovulation was like, and then when I got a good night's rest, I got my peak. And so I just think overall, why wait till I get to that point? Just get a good night's rest, as many nights as possible. So every night, let's just make it every night. Let's get a good night's rest, a good night's rest every night, right? So that's it, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Baby dust to you all.